Yes, I'm back. And right now, I'm giving a review on another debate Brother Tariq had with this suspected white supremacist. What's his name? Hold on.
Hey, I'm Andrew Hales, and I'm doing the Tide Check.
My bad. That was at Mike Gallagher. He's some sort of he's a radio show host. And Tariq had a debate with him last night. I'm going to chime in, give you my thoughts.
You got 160,000 Twitter followers, and you found 36 nasty people who put racist comments up there. Do you think that really tells a story of the way average Americans are feeling about a story like this?
Well, we live in a system, Mike, of white supremacy. Now, that's either correct or incorrect, Mike.
We live in a system of white supremacy. What do you mean by that?
Just pause right there. See, these suspected white supremacists and white supremacists in general, they're good at playing dumb. A system of white supremacy, Tariq. Well, I don't know what you mean. Elaborate. They get it. White supremacists, they're not that dumb. They understand it. They're good at deflecting, using deception, which this guy's doing. This is the art of deception. And being in denial, but they get it. And I'll never let them fool. They know what's going on. They know what system we live in. Let's continue.
That means that we live in a system, meaning that people who choose, and not all white people are white supremacists, let's be very clear, but people who choose to practice
magnanimous of you.
Oh, yeah. But people who choose to practice white supremacy choose to dominate and control and mistreat people who are classified as non-white. Now, that's either correct or incorrect, Mike.
Well, and there's also the argument and the assertion made that there are plenty of black Americans who treat white people with disgust and contempt and are racist and treat white people with utter disregard based on their own racial prejudices. Is that correct or incorrect?
That's outside of name calling. There is no systematic black racism nowhere.
Facts.
Outside of name calling there. So if a black guy comes along and beats the stuffing out of somebody because they're white and says, because I'm doing this because you're white, I hate white people. That happened in Brooklyn the other day, happened in Chicago last week. We saw a guy dragged out of his car. I mean, we see black on white violence regularly. How do you address that? What do you say about that, Tariq?
It's a con game. See, these suspected white supremacists, they'll pull up any random ass occasional video or report of a black person attacking a white person, but they never address that immediately that black person gets arrested and charged. We can't say the same about Dylan Roof. Can't say the same about George Zimmerman. Can't say the same about Eric Garner's killer, Tamir Rice's killer, Sandra Bland's killer, Oscar Grant's killer. You can't say the same about those situations, but they want to bring up these random instances of black people attacking Europeans, even though these Malinois people are immediately arrested and charged with assault. But let's continue.
Because it's not systematic, that black person is immediately punished when they are found. You do not have black people walking around free who harm or kill white people like you have white supremacist suspects walking around free for killing people like Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, other people like that. That is systematic.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, the Eric Garner case and all of those cases that we've examined and explored and discussed ad nauseum, you know, we get back to a basic premise, and maybe we can end it on this premise, and I'm interested in your take on this. The argument is if people, regardless of their race, would not fight an officer or resist or run or flee or act violent or confrontational to a police officer, many of the people who wind up dead would still be alive today.
Well, let's pause right there, because was Eric Garner, was he acting harmful and trying to evade police? Was Arthur Sterling, was he trying to evade police? Oscar Grant was handcuffed with his chest on the ground when he was executed by officers. Tamir Rice only had 2 seconds to put down the gun, if that, before he was executed. I don't see it. That's that I'm white and I say so. Tariq, will touch on that. Let's continue.
Is that a fair proposition to you?
No, that's the I'm white and I say so rule. And that's where we go to implications.
I'm white and I say so. Okay. So if a black officer kills a black guy for fighting back, what argument does he
That
have?
rarely happens.
Well, I mean, that rarely happens. And also, it's really rare that a black officer kills a white person.
It rarely happens. It happens all the time. What do you mean it rarely happens? You don't think black officers are killing black suspects?
See, when these suspected white supremacists bring up that argument, they never bring receipts. See, we got receipts. What the fuck we talking about? These white supremacists, like this guy, suspected ones, and the ones that enter my comments trolling, bring me a receipt. That's one thing you can't say about me. I bring my receipts. Show me some receipts, and then so we can validate your argument. But you can't do that. Continue.
In the streets of America?
I'm talking about unarmed people who are not really committing a crime. The crime itself is blackness, resisting arrest, mouthing off to a cop, stuff like that gets black people killed.
Do you honestly believe, and this is what the crux of this, because I'm always fascinated by the mindset of somebody who feels the way you do. Do you think that white cops just go around and want to kill black suspects just because?
No.
The FBI in 2006 put out a memo saying that white supremacist groups have infiltrated law enforcement. So now what you have are a bunch of white supremacist race soldiers pretending to be cops.
A bunch.
People in the back is not police work.
How do you define a bunch?
Killing a person and lying like Ray Tensing did on the police report, that's not a cop. There's nothing in a police.
Right. Well, there's lots of bad cops. There's no question about it. There's lots of bad radio hosts. There's lots of bad insurance agents. There's bad people in every category. But when you say a bunch, what do you mean by that, Tariq Nasheed? What does a bunch of white supremacist cops mean? 10%, 20%, 50%, 80%?
Unfortunately, many of the white supremacists are not letting us know who they are. When the FBI put out that report, they didn't let us know.
That'll be tricky. That'll be tricky. So that's going to be really hard to solve. So what do you think is the solution here?
We have to suspect some people are just white supremacists.
Right, suspect, and wouldn't that be a gross disservice to somebody if you suspect somebody of being a white supremacist?
Then they're playing that. Well, Tariq, come on. You can't categorize just most of these cops and white people as white supremacists. Isn't that's very vague and that's very individuous. Like, we can't do that. But y'all do that 24/7 on these white supremacist media platforms. Fox, MSNBC. Everybody who commits a crime that's black is tied to terrorist groups and Black Lives Matter, even though 9 times out of 10 they have nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. But let's continue.
Just when they're not, or is that irrelevant to you?
No, if they prove that they're not, that's fine. But if they have certain actions that make you suspect that they're white supremacists, you should have every right to be on your best guard and be cautious around them.
So what do you believe? I'm sure you're a guy of solutions, as I like to be. What do you think the solution is to some of the challenges we're facing right now with regards to race in America?
Prosecute these white supremacists.
We're completely dominated by white supremacy. See, we can't minimize that by saying there's a challenge. So what we have to do, we have to come up with ways to replace the system of white supremacy with a system of justice.
How do we do that?
What we're going to have to do is start punishing some of these race soldiers by saying, well, there's bad cops and there's bad people in law enforcement, but you don't punish them.
Exactly.
That's giving them the wherewithal to keep doing what they're doing.
So like the officer who shot the guy in South Carolina, who's now facing probably the rest of his life in prison. That's why. Was that an aberration that they're punishing him, or the guy they shot the kid in the parking lot of the gas station when he was reaching for his driver's license, and that guy went to jail for a lot of years? Are those aberrations?
That's random.
Why are
That's
those cops
rare.
punished?
I mean, that's very rare. As a matter of fact, when cops do get punished for killing a black person, a lot of times they don't get no more than 5 years in prison.
Exactly.
But part of the problem is social commentators like you take a case like Eric Garner, or I'll bet you even Trayvon Martin. You probably think Trayvon Martin was a victim, right? You think Eric Garner is a victim.
They were.
Guys weren't victims.
See, that's why we gotta suspect that he's a white supremacist.
Aspects of what led to
Using white
their
supremacist talking
ultimate
points
death.
like that.
So basically, you're throwing
in Staten Island.
Oh, it was ruled a homicide. So yeah, he did.
Killed, and the officer wasn't punished. And that's
That's not what the officers intended to kill him?
when they choked him, it looked like they did. Now, I'm suspecting that. I don't know because there has not been a trial, but the man is dead.
No, there was an autopsy released, and they said that there were a variety of factors that contributed to his death, including his obesity.
Using white supremacy talking points. Well, the autopsy was observed, and it said his death was contributed to a lot of factors like his obesity and his health. No, that's a crock of bullshit. Autopsy said it was a homicide. Cause of death was from a fucking WWE chokehold. So we gotta suspect people like Mike Gallagher, whatever the fuck his name is. You're a suspected white supremacist because you're using white supremacy talking points like that. He knows. See, like I told you in the beginning, they like to play dumb. He knows. Let's continue.
Obesity and his health problems.
No, sir, they said it was a homicide, sir. We cannot be disingenuous.
No, I'm not. I'm being very specific, and words matter. His specifically, according to the autopsy report, and you're right, it was determined to be a homicide, and because of the and there was pressure put on his back and all of that. There were cops on top of him, and you well know that there were contributing factors, including his obesity and his diabetes and his other health problems.
And that I'm white and I say so, which is the problem with systematic white.
So you could that's your get out of jail card argument to everything. Oh, I'm white and I say so. Well, let me guess, the coroner was white?
But that goes back to the Supreme Court ruling of
Dred Scott.
The Supreme Court ruling said a black man has no rights that a white man is bound to respect.
Yeah, they don't like to talk about that.
Tariq Nasheed, I appreciate very much you coming on the show because, again, it's important to me to hear all sides of an argument. Maybe we'll get you back again.
He had to cut him off on that. See, white supremacy, they don't like taking L's. That's the second L Tariq has given them in the past 2 or 3 days. They don't like, that's why they're trolling me. They're trolling his Twitter page. They don't like to take L's. Notice there's never a sore winner. If Tariq would have lost all the debates, they wouldn't be trolling us. Always remember, there's never a sore winner. But Mike Gallagher, whatever the fucking name is, we gotta suspect that you're a white supremacist. You're a race soldier advocate. You defend race soldiers. You use Fox News, white supremacy rhetoric talking points to defend white supremacy. So we just gotta suspect you're a white supremacist. Let me know what y'all think about this debate. I'll put it in the description. Get in the comments, like, subscribe, share the video.